We are going on with our series on complex numbers, and in this video we are going to find values for x that will satisfy this equation. So we are given the equation of x cubed minus 5x squared plus 8x minus 6 equals to 0, and we want to find the values of x if x equals to 3 is a possible solution for this equation. So we are given that x is equal to 3. And if I rewrite that equation, I have x minus 3 equal to 0. That means that x minus 3 would be one of the factors or brackets for this expression. So using that knowledge, I have x minus 3 as my first set of brackets. And what we want to do is figure out our second set of brackets. And we can do this by inspection. So for the first value here, I need to figure out what do I need to multiply with x to get back to x cubed. And I need to multiply x with x squared. Then for the last value, I look at negative 3 and I ask myself, what do I need to multiply with negative 3 to get to negative 6? And I need to multiply negative 3 with positive 2. So now I have the first and last term for my second set of brackets. Then we need to figure out the middle term. So what we will do is consider what do I need to multiply with to get to negative 5x squared. If the middle term has a variable of x and we have negative 3 times x squared, that is negative 3x squared, and x times x is x squared, what value do I need to place in front of x squared so that those two products would lead to negative 5x squared? And that is negative 2. So negative 3x squared plus negative 2x squared would be equals to negative 5x squared. And that is how you find the terms in the second set of brackets. Now we need to ask ourselves if we can continue to factor this expression. And we can if we complete the square. So I have x minus 3 times x squared minus 2x, and I'll complete the square by looking at the coefficient of x. So I'll add half of that coefficient squared, which is 1 squared, and I subtract 1 squared plus 2 equal to 0. So what I'm doing here is I'm completing the square so that I can create a perfect square which I can continue to factor. So we have x minus 3 times x minus 1 squared plus 1 equal to 0. Now we can rewrite plus 1 to create a difference of 2 squares in the second set of brackets. So we have x minus 3 times x minus 1 squared minus I squared is equal to 0, where I squared is equals to negative 1. So now I can factor even further, and I have x minus 3 times x minus 1 minus I times x minus 1 plus I equal to 0. So I'm using the second set of brackets as a difference of 2 squares. And now I have my possible values of x. So x minus 3 equals to 0 would lead to x equal to 3, which was given. And then we have x can be equal to 1 minus I, or x can be equal to 1 plus I. So we have 3 possible solutions for x for this equation. So a quick recap, we were given one of the solutions, and we created our first set of brackets using that solution. From there, by inspection, we found our second set of brackets. We used completing the square so that we can factor further. And then we use the imaginary number to create a difference of 2 squares. From there, we were able to factor even further. And then I set each of those brackets equal to 0 in order to solve the values of x.